bases when hunting up in North Texas. Had these hogs come in a little before 9 o'clock during daylight hours. So it's a little too bright for me to be walking out to approach them. I'm just hoping they're going to walk into the middle of the pasture and start grazing. In the meantime, let me tell you that we're going to be taking a look at some of the Berger AR Hybrid OTM 130 grain bullets and how they're performing inside of these hogs. Well, the hogs continued through the pasture and on down into the lower pasture area, so I had to get up and follow them, going down the tree line. And it's still pretty bright at this point. The cows are obviously noticing me, and I don't want to get too close to the hogs. It has finally gotten dark enough, and I'm now down in the lower pasture, in the middle of the pasture with the hogs. I've got cattle immediately to my right, about 10 yards away from me. As I reposition closer to the fence right here. The hogs are fairly spread out at this point. Some are out in the open, some are partially hidden by bunch grass, and some are completely hidden by the terrain. So I'm going to go ahead and work on the hogs that I can see. That's going to be my primary target. And I figure they're all going to run back to the left, which is the direction that they came from. Alright, here we go. Scanning, there we are. Shot number 3 misses, and these hogs run towards livestock, so I'm not going to pan any further in that direction. As the sow fell out of view, I couldn't finish her with a third shot from here, so I had to walk up a little closer and put a shot into her head. Alright, the first sow came in at 165 pounds. The second hog was a boar at 145 pounds, and the last sow came in at 195 pounds.
Brass Catcher by Tactical Brass Recovery.
And for this hunt, I'm using a Lone Star Armory TX15 MPCE and Berger AR Hybrid OTM bullets. The first shot on the sow entered on the right side, made a nice large hole going through the neck, tearing out the trachea and exiting out the opposite side. So there was no bullet recovery. But the bullet did more than enough damage going through the neck to put the hog down quickly and efficiently. Hog number 2 was a 145-pound boar, and the bullet entered on the left side, right here in the shoulder, piercing the shoulder blade with an unremarkable wound, going through the shoulder blade and entering the chest cavity, going between ribs, also with an unremarkable wound at this point. And from here, went through the left lung, the spine, the right lung, took out a rib, went through the scapula, and then exited. And here you can see the hole coming through the scapula, which is fairly remarkable. And through that, only 2 fragments of jacket were left behind on the exit side between the scapula and the skin, totaling 9.7 grains. I did not necropsy the third hog, the 165-pound sow. I did scan the hog with a metal detector and did not discover any bullet fragments. I can tell you that the first shot hit middle of the body, high on the back, hitting the spine, exiting out of the top of the back, and there you can see the wound on the top. The second shot hit her as she was rolling over, breaking the right humerus, grazing about 1 inch deep into the chest cavity before exiting, and then the third shot was in the back of the head and exited below the jaw. I spied a group of hogs around this tank from the roadway, and by the time I parked, got out and hiked down there about 10 minutes later, there was only the one boar left. The rest of the hogs had moved over to the neighbor's property. So it doesn't look like they're coming back, and so he's going to be my target. I keep hoping the other hogs are going to come back, but they're staying on the opposite side of the fence. And so here I've made my approach on the hog. I think he's on dry land. This looks like it's going to be a good shot. I'm going to get lined up on him right here and take a shot into his shoulder. And you can see the debris fly off his back as he goes down. And he starts doing the curly shuffle. Unfortunately, he's in the water. I do not like recovering hogs from the water, but here I get lucky. And the hog comes out of the water and I finish him off with 2 more shots. And of course, the other hogs are gone. This is where I found the boar. I might should have let him come a little farther out of the water. He was the fourth hog of the night, coming in at 170 pounds. My first shot entered right here in the shoulder and traveled diagonally, lengthwise across the body, from about here, 30 inches, where it landed in the left hip. And there you can see the bullet that I recovered about 1.5 inches deep into the muscle. While I did not track the wind path of the bullet through the body, I did recover the tip about 2 inches from the entrance and recovered the majority of the bullet there on the left hip. Combined recovery of the two fragments accounts for nearly total recovery of the 130 grain bullet. The second shot entered mid-body high on the back here, and the bullet traveled through, hitting the spine, whereupon parts of the bullet or parts of the spine exit out of the skin out of the top of the back, and then the rest of the bullet exited out the opposite side. Here you can also see an unhealed wound from where this boar had been fighting with another boar. So no surprise here, with the short distance traveled completely through the body, there were no bullet fragments recovered. And the last shot on this hog entered the left side of the neck here, traveled across, clipping the spine, and then coming out the opposite side here, making about a 1-inch wound channel through the neck. Again, penetration with this bullet was very good, with all of the bullet exiting, and as it turns out, this shot was probably unnecessary, as the wound channel was largely free of blood, indicating that the heart had already stopped beating. Carpe sus, my friends.